Okay, here we go.
Test, 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 test.
Roll music?
Let's roll it.
Welcome to the Unknown Morning Show.
It's the show where we explore radio,
Podcasting,
TV,
gear,
gearheads,
and making money with a hot mic and other stuff too.
This is the Unknown Morning Show.
I'm Mandee Montana.
And I'm Chuck McKinley.
Oh gosh, so we're sitting here today and we're trying to put together some sort of, we're not having a guest right now. So we're putting together ideas and Mandy sent me a list of things yesterday and there's like 5 of them and I was like, and I know I have bad vision. I'm 66. What's that word? But you were prepping, we're talking promotions and this is like 20 seconds ago, it said, disco sucks. And I go, that's it?
Well, that was like my,
But that's also, hey, that we're talking about promotions. One of the all-time biggest promotions ever, really, in radio had to do with Disco Demolition. It had to do in I think 1979, Comiskey Park in Chicago, where Steve Dahl from WLUP, The Loop. Steve had been in the market, had been in the market until recently, like 45 years.
Wow.
Huge talent. But at that time, it was in the early part of his career. And the disco station in town was WDIA. And when he was on the loop, he'd say, W-Die.
Oh.
And so listeners were encouraged to bring disco records to Comiskey Park.
Yeah.
And they were going to do something where they were doing fireworks. They were doing fireworks, and I can't remember. Anyway, what happened is the pile of records caught on fire and blew up. And Major League Baseball, just outright canceled the game. They were a little bit angry at the White Sox management. They weren't happy with Steve Dahl, and Steve didn't care because,
I mean, we're still talking about it.
Yes. So that means it's really successful.
Yeah.
Now,
I actually don't think disco sucks.
do you think when we were
I really don't.
No. Oh, no.
It's just a phrase that, caught on.
But on the other hand, when we were at KKUS, we would not have something where, okay, we want you to bring, okay.
Your top 40 country records.
Yes.
Or
and we're going to put them in the
CDs or
file.
iPods.
Now, the ones you don't like, the ones where they talk about warm red wine, making out in a pickup, and we're going to put them in a pile and light them up. We never did that. We were actually the sensible kids. We tried to do good promotions. And I was sitting there I was looking over, your ideas yesterday. I thought, let's do promotions. And I was thinking,
Well, they're near and dear to my heart because that was essentially what you allowed and assigned me to do.
Sure.
As a part of our working arrangement, our team. Those were the things that, I enjoyed having the creative play of planning promotions and interacting with the community.
and it worked really well for us because it gave me a lot of time just to do the music, the programming, and as far as promotions, my thing was more or less, how are we going to plug it? Because with anything that we did, whether it was like Colgate Country Showdown, which was, your basic singing contest, folks, it'd be like, it's going to be in October, let's say. So let's start promoting it in July. Have a little teaser, do that. 3 weeks later, have the teaser increase, and then, Don Jones starts talking about it some morning about how, you can get singers around East Texas involved in the Colgate Country Showdown, which we did it, I think, 3 years, right?
That sounds accurate.
Yeah, I think we did 3 years. The last year was the most fascinating and interesting. Remember, we were at the VFW.
Were we?
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
it was
the Shriners
the
building.
Shriners.
Yes.
And we could not afford. Management would not let us. Go out and rent a really good sound system. So we both had our DJ systems, and we combined them to make it work. And it was like the best in redneck engineering. But it was also the one thing that I said, yeah, we're not doing it anymore after this. It kind of internally kind of broke me a little too.
Well, when you don't have a budget to do it right, it's like, what's the point? Because sales is selling it, and there should be money attached to it because there's sales money attached to it. And then when they're not actually turning that around to give you any kind of help on the on the programming side, the production side
Yeah.
of an event like that, then it just doesn't make sense anymore. And it was, that's an interesting one because that one required so much ramp up effort because think like American Idol. You've got all of these like preliminary competitions where you're weeding people out.
Yeah, we had one, right? I think it was one preliminary, or did we have two?
I think we may have had one or two
I think originally,
for the first big one that we did.
yeah,
The first two.
yeah, because one of them was in Canton,
Yeah.
and
Did we do one at the Bass tournament?
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because I think the two of the three, I think we did preliminaries, and I think by the third one was like, okay, here's the deal: if your larynx is warm, come here, and we'll just make this an all-day event, and that's how we sold it.
Yeah.
You know.
It would. I guess where I was going with that is it was kind of a long running promotion. Like most promotions, you're like 3 to 6 weeks and they're
Yes.
done. They're quick. This one was more like 2 to 3 months because we had the like preliminary situation, I feel like. And we did all those remotes. We did a lot of live broadcast remotes where we were handing out toothpaste because at that time, the first time we did it, especially
Colgate.
yes, Colgate toothpaste. I remember distinctly being in front of Walmart on Troop
Yeah.
Highway.
Yeah.
Because they were our sponsor. It was a great, great sponsorship. I was so impressed that we had like Walmart involved with this at a local level.
Oh yeah, because they
But-
never do.
No, they rarely do anything like this. And so I'm standing out front, Mandee, Montana, with my Colgate toothpaste, and this lovely family walks up, and it's a grandparent. It's a pair of grandparents with two little girls, and the little girls have something plastic in their hands as they're approaching me, and I'm like, what is going on? And as they arrive at the table, they're like, "Are you Hannah Montana?"
What did you say?
No, baby, I am not Hannah.
Oh, come
are
on.
Are you her sister? Are you her mom?
Oh,
No, sweetie, I'm not. But do you like Hannah? Like,
yeah.
you just turn around and have a conversation with them and hand them some toothpaste and remind them to brush their teeth.
When I left the ranch, when I was told, Chuck, we're putting you on waivers. Well, I don't want to go. You're going anyway. I remember there was a box of probably 20 of those small tubes of toothpaste.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, being the radio guy, I was like, yeah, I got to brush my teeth. These are coming with.
I think I finally used the last Colgate tube of toothpaste that I had like a year ago. I mean, and that was 2007, 2008 that we did.
Yeah.
Some old toothpaste.
Well, there's an old saying, cockroaches and Colgate toothpaste, they last they last forever.
Oh, Procter & Gamble, if you're listening, we are open to sponsorships.
That's right.
We are open to sponsorships. No, that was a really fun promotion. We got to hear some really outstanding talent, and we had some people that worked with us a couple of times as our judges because we were sort of running the back end of that promotion, so
Yeah.
we weren't sitting and actually judging the singing competition.
Yeah.
By the way, I hate doing that. So if you're listening and you're like, "Oh, we should ask Mandee to do that sometime," no, you shouldn't.
No.
I'm happy to MC. Please don't ask me to judge your singing competition.
We don't like to do that just because we don't
I'm
like
not
to
a singer.
disappoint people.
I'm not a singer either.
Yeah, but you have ears and you can go, look,
That sounds good or that doesn't.
yeah, and I mean, I can't sing. I mean, good Lord, I can curdle milk with my voice, but
Same.
I always thought that in those competitions, you'd get the one or two people where they would do a song that maybe even original material, and you'd listen and you go, oh my,
There's something there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Versus, when you
If I heard Jesus take the wheel one more time.
I was going to say that or Martina McBride stuff was
Independence Day.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hit the high notes and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, the wonderful songs. But let me tell you, if you're ever at if you're judging a karaoke competition like that, they're very popular because they're powerful songs. They've got some incredible high notes. People want to show off what they can do. There's a tendency to hear it about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of get to a point where also, if they don't hit that note and you're me and everybody can read every emotion on your face, you feel guilty because you want to plaster a
Yeah.
smile and you want to seem encouraging and open to what this person's doing. You don't want to grimace. And I may have done that a couple of times.
You don't want to have it to where, you're forcing the corners of your mouth up and
Yeah.
go, oh gosh.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, but I'm glad that we did it the 3 years we did. I'm glad that it also ran its course.
What I like about something like that, it's really inclusive because, you have people participating, obviously the singers, there's us, there's fans, of the singers, that too.
Oh, it was community building for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I did enjoy that aspect of it.
And chili cook-off, I loved
Yeah.
when we did chili cook-offs.
I think we may have incorporated some karaoke element into one or two of those chili cook-offs too. I think we did.
When we were at the fairgrounds in Gladewater,
I think so.
Yeah, and I like that a lot because, and it's like you were saying too, even though there was a ton of moving parts, I didn't mind it.
That was fun.
Because we could sit there and talk to, our morning guy, Don Jones, and Tom Perryman would, and Don would say, okay, quarterback this, get Tom out there. He does his thing. We'll pull the levers and back to make this work. And, because I remember meeting in Gladewater like at 6 a.m. and we'd be sitting there like,
Was it really that early?
It was that early, 6:30. It was early to start to get things, unpack our stuff and to get things in order, to make sure that we had everything set up properly.
Yeah, those were fun events. Leading up to it, planning those events were fun too. I'm thinking back to the different people we had involved. Steve Auburn helped us quite a bit the first couple of years with his recording studio and his connections with Colgate Country Showdown, and then with the chili cook-off, Lon Welton.
I like Lon.
Yeah, with the Chamber of Commerce in Gladewater, he was fantastic.
Yeah, they because we got the fairgrounds for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah,
and basically what it cost is breakfast. In my head,
a couple of breakfasts at the Silver Spur.
Well, I mean, we went up, we sat down, we broke bread, had breakfast, And I've said this because I say this not so much kiddingly. It's like after a hard day at the radio station, Rosanna will roll out something, and I will say, "Food as medicine."
Oh yes, oh yes. And we had a couple of judges that. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever listen to this or if their friends will listen to this, but that I just felt were really kind and generous with their time. We had Dana Huey before she was a Huey, back when she was Dana Dixon at KLTV.
Oh, yeah.
This was many years ago. She was so kind and generous with her time. And Casey Musgraves.
Yes.
Before she hit it big, Casey was one of our judges. And I just remember her being so shy and quiet, but sweet.
But, it goes under the category, they don't have to do it.
No.
They could just say...
It was a free gig. We weren't paying them to be there.
It's like, we'll give you a couple of food coupons and some rodeo tickets. Man.
Yeah.
And I remember that one, too. It was...
we were in Longview for that one when Casey helped us judge. I mean, she spent some time with us. And her grandmother, Barbara, was, I think, who we talked to invite Casey to come out. And both of them, I mean, that was kind of a long day. She's from north of Tyler up near Mineola, and they drove all the way out to Longview and basically spent half a day with us.
I'm also a big fan, though, of smaller daily promotions. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, there was a couple of years, and I think maybe even 3 years, and I don't know how I got the connection. I think they may have just reached out. It was the Mesquite Rodeo.
Oh, yeah.
And it would run like... maybe close to 6 months. And the only thing I had to do, and I had to send them, like a proof every week, would be a promo had to run on morning drive and afternoons between 5 and 6. And it had to run 7 days a week. And I'm like, and I would get like 100 tickets a month.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was ongoing. And I just thought, yes. I didn't even ask anybody about that. I thought, oh yeah, we're doing this.
That's one of those where you wait for, if you need to ask for forgiveness, you're not asking for permission. We're just doing it.
Yeah, no, we're going to do this. Texas Roadhouse, the song of the day.
Oh, yeah.
That ran for probably well over 10 years.
Yeah, didn't we announce it in the afternoon and then the song played in the morning?
During Don's show.
And
we made it so easy, which is, I've been in situations where, whether you're doing trivia or whatever, and people will say, don't make it too easy. And I'm like, look.
Oh, no, you had super easy trivia.
Yes. I've had people kid me about that. Nice title. I go, well, it's descriptive. When I was at 99.3, I swear to God this happened. We were sitting there. It was you were probably with us over there. It had to do with Brian Houston was going to the Super Bowl for coverage. and we wanted to do some sort of pregame thing. And Dave said, "Oh, what are you going to call it?" Because we were writing up promo copy to get to the voice guy. And I said, "Super Bowl pregame show." Dave looks at me, "Okay." And I said, "I was kidding. It's simple." He goes, "Fine. Simple's good."
Simple is good. Speaking of simple, we did a
Yes.
promotion at the ranch, and if I send you the promo audio for it, it might be fun for you to interplay that into this.
Yes.
To add it in. I think
Okay.
I have it. I may have already emailed it to you, but we did a promotion called Big Money High Low. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Where you're guessing, you're trying to guess the amount that we're giving away, and so we'll tell you if it's too high or too low.
Yes.
And you gave me some creative license to put together some silly promos, and I mean, they're not great work. This is early Mandee creativity and production, but they're funny and they're silly, and you get to hear some voices from, I think Matt Morton was working with us at the time at the
Sure.
ranch, so he's in one of them, and then you and I played some parts. I mean, they were just silly, fun promos.
But you know what I liked about the ranch, and for folks not in our market, KKUS, and it still is a classic country radio station. And what was in my head is to keep it, you stay classic country. You can play Kitty Wells, you can play Reba, you can play Martina McBride, was to get the most seats in there, or get the most butts in the seats as possible without going overboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our voice guy, C.C. McCartney, exquisite.
Oh yeah, and I think he's the lead announcer in each of these
Okay.
promos. There's one of them that's like a Western version, and at the end, I think you kind of go, it's pretty entertaining. And then there's one that's kind of based on Red Riding Hood, and there's a wolf howl in it.
Yeah,
You remember these?
Yeah, I do. I vaguely remember. You have to send me those, and I'll think of a way to fit it in, and maybe do kind of a wraparound vocal and stuff like that.
Oh, they're just entertaining, but it was fun. I'm glad that I kept some of those pieces of audio. And that group at that time, we had so many bodies at the station. I mean, I think we had like 4 or 5 on staff, and then Lime Vasora did as well. So did Sunny 106.5, had about four people actually working for the station. So we had a large staff in house.
Yeah.
We worked really well together. It was kind of like a family. And there's another promotion that we all had to come together for this one. It was like a full group promotion. Do you remember Radio MASH?
Oh my gosh. That was
Make a smile happen.
and it was what we were doing at times was simulcasting on each other's station, or you would have, for instance, Rod
It was a
Wayne.
toy drive.
Yes, it was a toy drive, but you'd have at times each of us on other stations.
Mm-hmm.
And to be really honest, it was so confusing at times. And there were so many things that can go wrong and did almost. I remember revising the entire ranch log one morning because something wasn't going to work in about 10 minutes and uploading it, and it worked. But yeah, I get it. To me, it was, you could have the same effect by having it on each other station separately and plugging every station as they're doing it.
Oh, absolutely.
I just thought it was an oh wow thing used to impress, and I just thought,
Okay, so you went a totally different direction with it than what I was remembering.
what do you mean?
Meaning we were on site at 3 different locations,
Yes.
Tyler, Longview, and Jacksonville,
Yes.
from like
6 to 6.
No, for 24 hours, overnight even. The first year we did it.
Oh, yeah, but by the second year, it was only 6 to 6. though.
Yes. That first year, though, Mandee's probably 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I got one of the overnight shifts because I was the, probie.
I think I was overnight in Jacksonville one time.
Yeah, I was. I was too. We must have been. It lasted like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And at the Jacksonville Walmart. And then one night I was overnight in Tyler in front of Brookshire's on Rice Road. And I'll tell you what, the coldest weekend that we'd had in years was
Yeah.
the weekend that we were there. I was wearing like 4 layers of clothes. I think it was 15 degrees outside, and I'm in a tent in a parking
Yeah.
lot for my job.
Well, that probably colored my thoughts of it in general because, we're freezing. I just,
It was an intense, but it was like a stunt, right? It's kind of like the disco sucks thing with the
Yes.
disco demolition with the
and,
records.
and I get it. And,
Yeah.
ultimately, because I believe
We got some news coverage.
we got a little bit of news coverage on it because I think maybe the second year, I don't know if we did because there was something to where I believe we did it and somebody didn't, who was supposed to call the TV stations didn't. I think.
That's possible because I think after that, you and I started realizing that if we were going to get news coverage for the promotions we don't own the ranch, we needed to take it into our own hands. And I started writing press releases
Yes.
for everything that we did and developing relationships at each of the TV stations and
Yeah.
sending them out.
And we were
Yeah.
following up and calling,
And it worked. We got some coverage.
Yeah, we did. But, look, I get the oh, wow thing, but disco demolition in Chicago, you have a full staff of people doing it. And, could you imagine doing that now?
Like a full-on radio promotion that's
Like that?
No.
Because you have like
There's not enough people
You
in
have
the
like
station.
2 people.
That'd be like you and me trying to do that for this podcast.
Yes.
I mean, it's that slim pickings. I mean, it's you and me, and sometimes we have a guest, But okay, I've got 2 other things that I want to ask you about,
Yes.
and they are not things I was a part of, but I remember. So years ago at KNUE, you guys gave away a car.
Yes. And we gave away a car, which is
That's a pretty sexy gift.
it's a sexy gift. It was a book promotion. When you were talking, like 6 weeks, this was a book promotion that would go. And when I say book, for those that don't know, ratings usually last 3 months. So
13 weeks?
yeah, so you're starting to roll out the promotion probably a good couple of weeks, before ratings start. And it'd probably wrap up, maybe a couple of weeks before. But in this case, it was something to where you had a couple mini remotes a week, at least 2 or 3, an hour here, a couple hours here, encouraging listeners to sign up. I think we may have had it to where I would almost guarantee we had signups over the air during our shows. So
Like call-ins.
absolutely to get all that, and can win a car, terrific, wonderful, groovy. So we're at one of the dealerships in town, and when I say the day of, we were doing like maybe. I think it was even like a 6-hour remote.
Oh, yeah, like a countdown thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, last-minute
Yeah.
qualifiers.
Come by, get signed up, blah, 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 blah. So somebody in-house changes the methodology on how we were going to give it away. And I think it was going to be something like we were going to pick like 5 people and they would get keys. And whoever opened it, got the car.
Oh, the key that actually unlocks
yeah.
the door wins.
We changed the methodology
Uh-oh.
during that, and it wasn't programming's decision at all. And we're all like going, oh gosh, this is just going to be a disaster. And what happened was the person that won it wasn't like the little old lady, because there was one time we did something like that, and it was this sweet little old lady from Jacksonville that wins it. It wasn't like the young couple that's, driving around a POS pickup. No, it's
Someone who could afford a new car?
it was a bank president
Uh-oh.
from around the region, and because of the fact that we had messed with the methodology, and listeners knew it, because listeners know stuff.
They pay attention.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, the station was sued because of it. Yeah, it was sued. I have no idea how it was settled. I mean, that's well below my pay grade at that time. Oh God, yes.
I've got one final one, if that's okay. It's my favorite promotion that I wasn't a part of, but I played as a listener before I got into radio.
What was that?
I think you're going to remember when I say it. Dead Guy in the Envelope from Mix 107.3.
Oh yes, that boy. Now that was a terrific promotion.
It was, because it was so simple. There's the name of a dead person in an envelope.
Yes. And you have to guess it.
People are calling in to guess it throughout the day. And you start narrowing it down.
Yes.
And I was a I was what we would call a P1 listener of this station.
Primary.
At the time, a primary listener.
You were listening all the time.
I was listening as often as I could. I was 12 years old, 12, 13 years old at the time. So, so that meant I was listening on my way to school while I was getting ready for school. And then when I got out of school, which meant I was listening to Michael Storm and Lucky Larry in the morning.
Yes.
Joey in the afternoon and Jake at night.
So, and you were guessing. Could you only get one guess or could you keep guessing?
Oh, no, you got one guess. You got to call in and make your guess. And so I just knew that I had the right answer.
But did anybody tell you that there's a lot of dead people?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's understood, right? So
I'm just saying.
people are. I mean, it's a famous dead. It's a famous dead person. Let me
Okay.
qualify, not just a random like John Smith. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about a famous dead person. So I mean, people call in and say like Marilyn Monroe or
Truman Capote.
yeah. I mean, we're talking about famous dead
Where did
people.
he pull that one out of?
I don't know.
I ain't going to tell you.
I will tell you who I thought it was.
Who?
I thought it was River Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix's brother that died early.
That would make
young man.
That would make sense.
And it was sort of a contemporary person,
Yeah.
right? And for months and months or however long this went, it felt like months to me because I was so invested in this promotion, but I just knew
You were invested
that
in the promotion.
answer was River Phoenix. And finally, someone called in and guessed it one morning when I was getting ready for school.
And who was it?
It was not River Phoenix.
It wasn't. Who was it?
King Tut.
Wow.
I know. I felt so let down. I was like, King Tut?
Yeah.
Who's going to guess that?
King Tut, come on. What's the matter with you guys? I'm Mandee. I've been guessing this thing forever. I got some skin in the game.
I loved it. But I mean, it's wild because that was, 30 some odd years ago.
Sure.
And I still remember being so invested. To me, that's like the mark of a great promotion. When
Yeah.
you've got a listener that was like that invested, they remembered it. But I think it also goes to show like at the time, we didn't have a lot of options as far as like music. You had the radio or you had your cassette tapes.
Yep.
Or that was kind of on the verge of CDs becoming really accessible. For a
Sure.
long time, they were sort of a high-end thing. But CDs were starting to become really accessible at that time. But for me, I had the radio for pop music and I was like recording audio. And so
Sure.
I don't think I have a recording of that promotion on a cassette still. I probably did at the time, but recorded over it later. But man, that was how I stayed in touch with pop culture. We didn't have, real access to the internet. It was dial up and you could make a sandwich by the time it connected, like it was wild.
When I was 19, when I was getting started in radio, my first gig was a night gig. So I would sit there because I would listen to WLS in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It was 50,000 watts at night, clear channel. So I had a handheld recorder
Mm-hmm.
with 45-minute tapes or 90-minute tapes. So I
Mm-hmm.
would go. And when I think about it, I would turn on the radio and I would tape WLS in Chicago, and I never had any problem starting my car. I must have sat there and turned it on for 5 minutes and ran back in. But I would sit there and record everything long form, and then I'd re-record it on a reel so I could chop it down into tapes and just listen.
Nice.
And air check. Yeah. Oh, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
And then you learn later on that John Landecker at night is wonderful. Jeff Davis, Yvonne Daniels overnight, et cetera, et cetera. But you will learn the truth on radio.
And what is that?
You have to talk with your voice, your own voice.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
inside?
So you're saying like you're not imitating someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no way to do that at all. But
Not
my
to be successful.
question to you, though,
Yeah.
is this. So after Dead Man in the Envelope,
Yeah.
would the alternative for you to be, I mean, is it something to where the whole King Tut thing, did you just say, well, I'm doing super easy trivia forever? Just that. I'll take food coupons.
I mean, no, I still listen to the
Hey, what
station.
was their prize on that?
I think it was a vacation like to a tropical place. Like I think it was like an all-inclusive resort in Cancun or something. It was a pretty big vacation.
Egypt.
No,
Wouldn't that be cool?
that would have been cool. It might have been a giveaway as to who was the dead guy in the envelope though.
Would you like to go to Cairo?
I actually would, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But that was I mean, and here I was 12. Like if I won that, I wasn't 18 or older, I wouldn't qualify to win that trip. But I didn't have to qualify. It was fun for me. It was fun to be a part of that as a listener and listen into other people's guesses. I felt like I was part of it, even though I wasn't.
Somebody's here. Hey, Brian.
You want to wrap it up with that?
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up with that, and I'll figure out the end.
This has been another episode of The Unknown Morning Show.
I'm Mandee Montana.
And I'm Chuck McKinley.
This is our show to explore radio,
Podcasting.
gear,
And the gearheads that use the gear.
and making money with a hot mic.
And other stuff in between.
We'd love for you to follow us on social media as well. Follow us on Facebook at The Unknown Morning Show and Instagram at The Unknown Morning Show. See us on YouTube at The Unknown Morning Show.
Thank you for listening to The Unknown Morning Show.
I'm Mandee Montana.
I'm Chuck McKinley. And remember, be kind and rewind.